This is a battle in the Use It and Lose It tournament, and this particular matchup is perhaps one of my favorites, Carthage versus Pontus, because the factions share some similarities. They have a big roster, but they have a roster that needs to be used like an army, like an actual army together in order to work optimally, because they have no single category where they are just better than everyone else. Now, true, the cavalry of Pontus is better than the cavalry of Carthage. Pontus has horse archers, Carthage doesn't. Carthage has better mid-tier swords, and Pontus has no good, real good mid-tier swords. It has the Pontic swords, and the Pontic swords are, next to thorax swords, the worst mid-tier swords in the game, sort of sub-mid-tier swords. But in price, they are mid-tier. So, for Carthage, we have on the flanks Libyan Hoplites, Libyan Peltasts, Mercenary Iberian Cav on the flanks. Something weird happened with the general of Carthage here, where they have a general's bodyguard, and it seems like the general is really in this unit. That can happen sometimes in the selection. I don't think it's an intentional exploit. Then we have Mercenary Samnites, Libyans, Sacred Band. Nice, don't see those very often. Problem with these guys, they are expensive and they don't have the elite spear. They have a high melee attack for a spear unit though. Mercenary Samnites, and in the center here we have Mercenary Balearics and Mercenary Iberian Swords. The elephant against Pontus is a peculiar choice, because Pontus has so much missile power. Noble Bloods on the flanks. Then we have, in the center here, we have Naked Warriors, Pontic Swords, some Spears in the center. Then we have Noble Bloods, Cappadocians, Mercenary Scythian Horse. So this elephant is in no way safe. It's a prime target for these Mercenary Scythian Horse. The Pontic Sword general here is also a prime target. There isn't any good heavy cavalry on the side of Carthage. Maybe the reasoning is that Carthage loses the cavalry fight anyway, so let's just not try to win it. But the thing is that if Carthaginian cavalry engages these units and Libyan Hoplites join the fight, they can do extremely well. 30 bonus versus cavalry, that's a lot. So here we have some Levy Pikes and Mercenary Naked Swords, Eastern Archers, not Eastern Slingers, interestingly enough. Now this looks like a setup for a Pike YOLO. Perhaps it's also because since the Pikes are here, if there comes a frontal cav charge, the Pikes can just run in front and the squishy infantry is safe. So this is a smart setup, I think. Carthage going wide on the flanks, creating small subdivisions of the army here, and it looks like these Carthaginian units just want to engage. But this is very interesting, because the Pontic Swords throw their precursors, then they go back. The Mercenary Naked Swords frenzy charge into the Mercenary Samnites, and look at what they do to the Samnites, because the Samnites had attack orders on the Pontic Swords. Now the Pontic Swords come in, the Nakeds pull out. This is MLG. The Pontic Swords go in, the Mercenary Naked Swords go out, and it's been so long since I've seen cycle charging infantry in Rome 2. This is it. Things are happening on the flanks as well. Carthage is doing nicely in supporting the fights with Libyan Hoplites, but this is where it's really going on. We have the cycle charging infantry and also the Levy Pikes rushing in as second line against the Libyan infantry. So the Libyan infantry is actually losing. And now the Mercenary Naked Swords taking fire from the Balearic Slinger. They could charge in here, but at this point the Mercenary Samnites are losing to Pontic Swords. And this is a great example of how the Pontic units need to be used in conjunction with each other. But here come the African War Elephants. The Pikes are not facing this way. The African War Elephants take flaming shots, but they are wrecking the center of Pontus with their charge. Winning decisively. They are not moving now, that's a problem. They did manage to break the Pontic center. They should probably now try to go for the Naked Swords and these guys, because now the center of Pontus is open. A lot of units lost here. The elephants are out of control, but they are not going out of control towards Carthage. They are running amok towards Pontus, and they're going to cause some havoc here in the naked warriors. Let's see if they go into the eastern archers. Just clip the edge of the unit. So what was a horrible engagement for Carthage was brought back by the African war elephants. Didn't get too many kills, but now they're getting into the eastern archers. And they prevented the mercenary nakeds from going in, but I really loved that engagement from Pontus. Required a lot of micromanagement, but it was very, very good, using a lot of inferior units together. Now the African war elephants here get charged by the mercenary naked swords. They didn't care too much about that. Giving the eastern archers some... Oh, almost got a good volley off there, but they ran amok towards them, so the elephants had to pull away. Now in the back here we have General's bodyguard fighting up against the mercenary Scythian horse. The mercenary Scythian horse could just snipe the Carthaginian general now. And we have a sneaky chariot way in the back. That's a problem for Carthage. Carthage has no heavy cavalry to stop the chariot. The elephants are still running amok in the center, running amok through both Carthage and the mercenary nakeds. The mercenary nakeds just got the charge in, but not as there, just as I was about to say, not a single elephant has died. A single elephant dies, so 16 left now in the unit, 16 men in the unit. And here the Libyan hoplites just destroy Cappadocian Cav in melee. The Libyan infantry are not doing too well on the flanks here. Mercenary nakeds doing well against Libyan hoplites, of course. The mercenary Iberian swords just standing around, not doing anything at the moment. The Libyan peltas, maybe they've used all of their ammunition since they're not firing at these naked swords. And the elephants are slowly dying to the eastern archers. They've taken a lot of fire, and now, yeah, the elephants are basically off the field. So they managed to break the center of Pontus, but the eastern archers were able to screen them off and make them ineffective. So the Carthaginian general is dead. The chariot is rushing in to mop up what remains of Carthage. And there is no unit that is able to decisively stop it here. Also, Cappadocian cavalry free. I really like this Pontic army. The combination of naked swords and Pontic swords was used to perfection together with the pikes. Just too bad for Pontus that the elephants came in and ruined the day. Let's just fast forward. We have 4 more minutes left of this battle. It's not over, but Carthage definitely is in the weaker position now. The mercenary Iberian swords charging into Pontic swords, and of course mercenary Iberian swords just cannot stand up to that, although they are winning decisively on the charge. Interesting, because this is a depleted unit. But there are scythe chariots coming in. The Libyan peltas getting charged by Cappadocian Cav. Nakeds going into the Libyan hoplites to stop them from getting to the Cappadocians. And yeah, here comes the chariot doing its thing. Plowing through the mercenary Iberian swords. And it's ridiculous that chariots do not do friendly fire when being used like this. That was one of the reasons I almost stopped playing Rome 2 for a moment. The way you could just use chariots to pull through entire armies and selectively kill enemy troops, not do any friendly damage. That was just too much. So now the chariots are starting to pay for themselves. Carthage still has a lot of units left, getting into the levy pikes. The levy pikes have their pikes, don't have their pikes down actually. Now they do, so they're stabbing a few of these generals' bodyguard. But a few glorious volleys of precursors or javelins, ideally, against these chariots could mean death. But the Libyan peltas are running. Stopping them in the forest here could probably be a good idea, so they don't take too much damage from the Cappadocians on the charge. Libyan peltas very sturdy in melee. So giving attack orders would mean that the Cappadocian Cab would lose men on the disengage. The mercenary Iberian swords are firing on the scythe chariots. The chariot is tired, but now it of course hits the it hits the mercenary Iberian swords, and the mercenary Iberian swords are off the field. Same with these mercenary Balearic slingers. The Sacred Band goes into phalanx, but it's a very weird, disorganized phalanx. The chariots did stop, however, but attack orders are not given on the chariot. So the chariot is probably going to be able to just pull out and be fine here. You can see that some units get stuck, and then some are able to continue through. The Nakeds, 214 kills, wrecking mercenary Iberian swords on the charge there. The Sacred Band lost a lot of men from the chariots. The chariots lost the chariot. Here we have the Carthaginian fake general fighting up against the Cappadocian cav, and he's about to die. And there's only this Sacred Band left now for Carthage, standing in a very weird phalanx formation. The chariot clips through the grass chariot to wreck the Sacred Band, and the chariot just doesn't care. Mercenary naked swords charging in, but the Sacred Band is broken. Well, this was a peculiar Carthaginian army. No Carthaginian cavalry, just this general's bodyguard, and just this. I mean, look at the kills from the mercenary Iberian cavalry. Not good against Cappadocians. But it was all about, for Pontus, it was all about the combination of these mercenary nakeds together with the Pontic swords, getting the charge, pulling out the Pontic swords, getting the nakeds in there, and it would have been even better, and getting the pikes in as well. The pikes didn't do too well, but it was nice to see. And now getting the mercenary naked swords to get a second charge against those swords would have been glorious, but of course the elephants put an effective stop to that. Just see how well the Libyan infantry did here compared to the Samnites. I really like Libyan infantry, I really don't like Samnites. So I think 4 Libyan infantry for Carthage is sort of mandatory. It looks like the rules are... yeah, the rules are fine here. We have 8 melee infantry. 8 melee infantry for Pontus as well, so no rules being broken there. And I think 3 Balearic slingers, and 3 Balearic slingers and only 2 cav units, and not even cav units that are good against enemy cav. That's risky, because anytime you spend this much on... you have 5 skirmishers, almost like you have 9 skirmishers because of these mercenary Iberians. You really need to protect them. But that, of course, is not easy to do against Cappadocians and Noble Bloods. So that was a good game, guys. Thanks for sending it. Strength and honor.